going on, ladies and gents, and welcome back to another video from Transit Gaming. Now, the first thing I want to say to you guys is that I deeply apologize for not posting a video in so damn long. Like, it's been like, I don't know, a month or so. Because, guys, I have school, I have homework, I have errands, and I not get enough free time. And it takes time to make these videos that you guys love and enjoy. And I know there's been some talk and confusion out there about my YouTube channel name. Now, I just want to tell you guys that my YouTube channel is officially called Transit Gaming, not Trans Gaming. Transit Gaming. Anyways, guys, for today's video, I'll be doing a review on a major auto convention in downtown Toronto, the 2020 Canadian International Auto Show. So start your brain engines, guys, and get ready to learn about the Canadian International Auto Show. Here we are at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre, located on Front Street and Bremner Boulevard to the south. This is where the auto show takes place every single year, since 1974. The Canadian International Auto Show, or CIAS, not to be confused with the Canadian International Air Show. It is the largest auto show in Canada. It takes place every February for 10 days. This year in 2020, it lasted from February the 14th to the 23rd. The show exhibits over 1,000 vehicles every year. These vehicles range from cars, trucks, and SUVs. But in the show, you can also expect to see concept cars, exotics, classics, motorcycles, and even alternative powered vehicles. Not only does the auto show display lots of different vehicles, but there are booths set up by the sponsors and exhibitors that you can go to. These booths promote everything from contests to new products and services. The CIAS this year is made possible by these following sponsors. And thank you to these exhibitors for their contribution. Wow! Now, with the background information out of the way, I'm going to show you all the vehicles that are exhibited in this year's CIAS. The Metro Toronto Convention Centre has a total area of an astounding 700,000 square feet in both their north and south buildings. During the CIAS, vehicles are displayed on levels 100, 200, and 300 in the north building, and on levels 600, 700, and 800 in the south building. First, let's look at what's in store for us on level 100. Level 100 is where you can find the most popular exhibit at the CIAS, the Auto Exotica, where you can find only the finest and the most eye-catching of cars, whether they're from car collectors across Canada or whether they be cars that had made a technological advancement. The first cars you'll come across at Auto Exotica are these 4 supercars from the British auto company Lotus, 3 of which are Lotus Evoras. Here is a quick walk around of the 4 supercars. Next up, we have these 14 vehicles brought to the show by Autostrada magazine. Supplementing the 13 cars Autostrada brought to the show, they also showed off another vehicle that you won't really expect to see at an auto show. That's right, a tractor. Or more specifically, a 1966 Lamborghini R1 tractor. Here are the other 13 cars that Autostrada magazine has to offer at the CIAS. First up, we have the 1994 Jaguar XJ220S. It is a British luxury sports car that was the fastest and unfortunately one of the most expensive cars at the time, costing up to 470,000 British pounds. Next up, we have the 2013 Morgan Aero Super Sports car. This is the 1972 Lancia Stratos. It was a very successful rally car, winning the World Rally Championship in 1974, 75, and 76.
Hey, that's pretty good.
This is the 2020 McLaren 600 LT Spider. The 2019 Porsche 911 Speedster. The 2015 Porsche 918 Spider. 1987 Porsche 959. 2019 Lamborghini Aventador SVJ. 1970 Lamborghini Miura P400S. 1966 Shelby Cobra 427 Competition. 1967 Ferrari 275 GTB4. And here is the 2020 Ferrari 488 Pista. This is it, ladies and gentlemen, the best new Ferrari you can ever lay your eyes upon. This car is an improved variant of the original Ferrari 488, thanks to its many mechanical and exterior modifications. In fact, the 488 Pista is fitted with the most powerful V8 engine in Ferrari history, delivering an impressive power output of 710 horsepower at 8,000 RPM. And here's the 2003 Ferrari Enzo. Next up, we have these 3 cars from the legendary motor car company. The 2018 Ford GT Competition. 1969 Ford GT40. And the 2006 Ford GT. We're not done with Auto Exotica yet, because there are still a few more cars left to show you. Starting off with the following cars from Pfaff Automotive Partners. A modified Porsche 911 restored by Singer Vehicle Design. A Pininfarina Battista. And a Pagani Huayra Roadster. Next up, we have 3 cars from Barrett-Jackson with the world's greatest collector car auctions! First up, we have the 1969 Shelby GT500 convertible. This is the 1970 Plymouth Barracuda Hemi from the collection of Craig Jackson, and the 1968 Chevrolet Camaro. Next up, we have a 3-car display that is quite the showstopper at Exotica, because these cars are from none other than the innovative and eco-friendly Tesla. That's right, Tesla showed off 3 different Tesla cars at the CIAS this year. These cars include the Tesla Model 3, Model S, and the Model X. As you can see, some of the specs are in rough estimates. This is because a lot of commercial cars like the Teslas also have different trim and model types, such as long range, GT Premium, that kind of stuff, which complements with the base vehicle type. The evolution of the vehicle type over the years, custom options for the vehicle such as paint and interior, and much more information about the vehicle that will make this video way too long. But if you guys, the community, want to know more about a specific type of car in complete detail, then tell me in the comments down below so that in the future I'll start an everything you need to know about cars series. But anyways, back to the video. Teslas are just incredibly futuristic, with impressive technology, and I even got the opportunity to take a look inside, which looks really awesome. Here is a quick look at the touchscreen in a Tesla Model X. Across from the Teslas are these 2 cars. The 1965 Shelby Mustang GT350 and the 2006 Ford GT.
Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Every night during the auto show at 6:30 and 7:30, the 2 cars were fired up to show off their powerful engines in an event called Light Up the Night, presented by Sirius XM. Here are 2 7th generation Chevrolet Corvette Z06s, one red and the other in maroon Metallica paint, from Caravaggio Corvettes. And finally, in Auto Exotica, we have the 2nd ever Canadian-made supercar that made its Ontario debut at the 2020 CIAS. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Felino CB7R. The next exhibit you'll come across on level 100 is a Hall of Fame tribute to McLaren Racing. Now I know some of you won't really recognize McLaren all that much, but McLaren Racing Limited is actually the 2nd oldest active and the 2nd most successful Formula 1 team, just after Ferrari. That's right, McLaren has currently won about 182 races, which include 5 consecutive Can-Am Challenge Cup wins between 1967 and 1971, 12 Formula 1 World Championships, 3 Indy 500 titles, and a victory in 24 hours of Le Mans. So this year at the CIAS, we were able to look back and celebrate McLaren's extraordinary racing history. in a Hall of Fame exhibit showcasing McLaren's most prized artifacts, and some of McLaren's most famous cars, which include the 2019 McLaren 720S GT3, the 1961 Cooper T55, the 2019 McLaren 570S GT4, the 1969 McLaren M6B, the 1972 McLaren M8E/F, the 1972 McLaren M16B, the 1974 McLaren M23, and the 1975 McLaren M16E. Now I've pretty much finished talking about the two exhibits on level 100, but before we head up to level 200, there are still a couple more vehicles from various exhibitors left to show you. First, we have a heavily modified Subaru and a drift taxi from CIAS, Canada's biggest sport compact racing series. Yup, it was hard to say that without messing up. Next up, we have a Ferrari from Drive Festival, where you can test drive awesome cars at the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Next, we have these three Can-Am Ryker 3-wheeled motorcycles from BRP. Next up, we have this car from the Ceramic Pro booth. If you guys know what car this is, let me know down in the comments. And finally, we have a Honda Civic Type R FK8 TCR and an Audi R8 LMS GT4 from CTCC Racing. This is the North Building's ground level, level 200, which doesn't really look all that interesting. Because this floor pretty much only has admin rooms, ticketing and customer service counters, and a food court where I got my delicious hot dog. But in addition to those, level 200 is also where you would go to sign up for the incredible opportunity to test drive electric vehicles directly from the auto show for the car buyers who are looking for an upgrade. Here you can test drive a variety of electric vehicles from the Nissan Leaf to the Volkswagen e-Golf. Finally, level 200 also exhibited a rather small amount of vehicles from a few different manufacturers. They are the Kia Soul EV, the Chevrolet Bolt EV, the Nissan Leaf Plus, the Lexus UX, the Lexus RX, the Lexus ES, and the Lexus GX. After a brief escalator ride, we are now on level 300, one of the big floors in the convention center with a lot of area to cover. The floor is where you can see a lot of commercial cars that we all know and drive today from various different manufacturers. The manufacturers that have exhibited on level 300 this year are Chrysler, Dodge, Fiat, Honda, Hyundai, Jeep, Kia, Mazda, Mitsubishi, Nissan, Ram, Subaru, and Volkswagen. In fact, manufacturers take advantage of the auto show to show off their latest products, consult with car buyers, and maybe even make profits on their 2020 car models. First up, we have Subaru, who displayed the latest models of their Subaru Outback, Ascent, Forester, Impreza, Legacy, Crosstrek, WRX STI, and BRZ vehicles. Most of these cars have some of their respective trims displayed here. The Subaru booth this year has an 80-foot screen, which looks really cool, and this trophy display for some reason. Finally, there is a feature new for the Subaru Legacy this year, the Subaru Global Platform. First used on the Impreza and the Crosstrek, the Global Platform is mainly used to increase vehicle safety. That's right, the platform makes for a 40% increase in crash energy absorption, reducing body roll by 50%, and up to 100% increase in structural rigidity. Next up, we have Honda, who took a different approach in their exhibit this year. Because this year, they wanted to make the AutoShow experience for the consumers more enjoyable and interactive. And so Honda came up with the idea to make this really awesome exhibit this year, called The Intersection. This is Honda's innovative way to showcase the brand's 5 core pillars in an unconventional static exhibit. The first pillar is environment. This is where Honda shows us how committed they are to the environment and the reduction of carbon emissions since 1948. Here you can see some of Honda's most eco-friendly cars, like this Honda Clarity plug-in hybrid. In fact, they're so committed to reducing their carbon footprint that they decided to show the CO2 emissions ratings for each one of their vehicles. Next, you can find a digital X-ray scrubber, which allows you to learn about the Honda Accord hybrid's engineering and efficiency. Finally, there are also 2 motorcycles displayed here. They are the NC750X and the Goldwing GL1800. Next up, we have Community. This is where you'll find the Honda Community Park, an area with this gorgeous scenic park setting with trees and grass, and you can find the Honda Odyssey and the CR-V here. Here, the 2 cars are specialized community vehicles that represent Earth Rangers and the Canadian Cancer Society. Honda hoped to use these vehicles as a way to show people how the Honda Canada Foundation is committed to organizations and the community. Next, we have safety. Honda truly cares about the safety for each and every one of us, no matter if you're the driver or the passenger or even just a pedestrian. Here you can see a crash-tested Honda Civic and an interactive crash replay video, and see how Honda uses the new Honda sensing features to redefine safe vehicles. In this section, you can also see the pilot and the passport. Manufacturing. Here you can discover Honda's manufacturing elements with the help of some interactives, and be able to look at the custom features for a Honda Civic. But that's not all. There's also an interactive robotic arm display that sort of pastes stickers onto the body of a car. The demonstration is intended to show people what technology may look like in the future, especially for the automotive industry. At manufacturing, you'll also come across a Honda Civic Sci. The last core pillar is mobility. Here, you can look at this gigantic timeline, which brings you back to more than 70 years of Honda innovation. Here is a quick walk around of the timeline. And on the inside, there is also a display that shows what the future of Honda may look like. Here, Honda is also demonstrating the Unicub, which is the world's first omnidirectional driving wheel system, and a walk assist system to show how much they really care about mobility in the future. Finally, there is also a town hall section where you can see another Honda Civic, the Civic Type R. Next, we have Kia, who exhibited a fairly large amount of cars at the show this year, and these accessories for some reason. So let's see the cars Kia had in store for us this year at the auto show. First up, we have the Kia Niro EV. Here is the Seltos, the Soul, the Stinger, the Rio, the Forte, the Optima, and the Telluride. Next up, we have this big area full of vehicles from Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, Fiat, and Ram. First up, we have Dodge, who is displaying their Charger SRT Hellcat, the Grand Caravan, the Challenger, the Durango, and the Journey. Next, we have Jeep, who showed us their Compass, the Grand Cherokee, the Renegade, the Wrangler, and the Gladiator. Next, we have Chrysler, who is showing us their La Pacifica, La Pacifica Hybrid, and the 300. And then we have Fiat, who has the 500L, the 124 Spider, and the 500X. Next up, we have Ram, who are very well known for their powerful pickup trucks. At the show, you can take a look at the Ram 1500, Ram Heavy Duty, and the Ram ProMaster 3500. The Ram Heavy Duty was in fact the Motor Trend Truck of the Year for 2020. And the Ram 1500 surprisingly got the title the year before. And by the way, here's a comparison between regular cab, quad cab, crew cab, and mega cab pickup trucks. And there's also a Ram merch display case for some reason. Next up, we have Nissan. The latest models of cars they have for us are the Nissan Altima, the Maxima, the Kicks, the Sentra, the GTR, the Armada, the Pathfinder, the Qashqai, the Frontier, the Titan, the Murano, the Micra, the Rogue, the Versa, the NV200, and the Nissan Kicks Street Sport concept. Finally, here's a little display of Nissan's custom options. Next, we have Mazda, who showed us the new Mazda 6, Mazda 3, MX-5 Miata, and the CX-30. Here is a display showcasing the iActive all-wheel drive system, which has a detection system that prevents the car from slipping when driving on snowy roads and other hazardous surfaces. And finally, here's a display showing Mazda's paint options. And then we have Volkswagen, who showed us the e-Golf, Passat, Golf GTI, Arteon, Jetta, Atlas, and Tiguan. Also in the Volkswagen exhibits is this display case full of Volkswagen merch and a Canadian Premier League sponsored interactive video game for the kids. Finally, the MEB platform is also displayed here, which is an electric car platform that Volkswagen will soon put on future vehicles. Next, we have Mitsubishi with the new Mirage, RVR, and Eclipse Cross. You can also find this car here for some reason. Next, we have Hyundai with these cars: the Ioniq Electric, the Sonata, the Accent, the Venue, the Elantra, the Veloster, the Kona, the Santa Fe, the Palisade, the Nexo, the Hyundai 45 concept, and the Vision T concept. Finally, there's a variety of different sponsor booths up on level 300. The Toronto Star booth was being used for a variety of different purposes. There is also a big screen there that plays a variety of different videos, like this short episode of Heavy Rescue 401, which you can watch on Discovery Channel. This Lamborghini car was also displayed near the booth. Next, we have this TD Bank booth, which also has this remote control car racetrack for the kids to play around with. Finally, at the Prostate Cancer Canada booth, there was a special event there called Rock the Road Raffle, where one lucky winner can drive away with two 2020 Toyota GR Supras worth over $152,000.
Oh my God, is this Supra in the back? Dude, is this a Supra? Wow!
Which is all thanks to the generosity from the Trillium Automobile Dealers Association, or
Ta-da!
We are now finished looking at the North Building, and so now let's move on to the South Building. But first, we need to get to the bridge that links both buildings. And here's a photo of the GO train that I took for no reason. After going down a series of escalators, you'll reach level 500, which is the South Building's ground level, and has nothing interesting. When you go down another level, you'll reach level 600, which is another one of those levels that don't really have that much to offer. Because other than food courts,
pizza time,
play care centers where you can drop your kids off, and some retail vendors where you can get your hands on some car souvenirs, the only other things to see here are sponsor booths from Jack and Jill of All Tires and Ultimate Exotics. And finally, Walt Disney Studios brought the Pixar vehicle experience to this year's auto show. Here, kids can admire life-size vehicles from 3 Pixar films. The vehicles include Lightning McQueen from Cars, Duke Kaboom's motorcycle from Toy Story 4, and a van named Guinevere from Onward. Next up, we have level 700, which is where you'll go if you dabble in the style of older cars. And there's also a couple more kid-friendly attractions here. This is the Toys R Us test driving track. There is also a Toys R Us retail store here, where they sell car-related toys from brands such as Lego. And then there's this car ramp, which is just straight up trash. Next, there's also a demonstration from Big Boys with Cool Toys, Canada's largest remote control hobby store. At this freestyle park, you'll have an opportunity to watch some of these RC cars perform various big air stunts. If you wanted one during the auto show so badly, don't worry, because there's retail vendors run by Big Boys with Cool Toys that you can go to get some of these RC vehicles and car related toys for yourself. Next, level 700 is also where the World Gaming Network Forza 7 Championship took place. During the auto show, attendees were given the opportunity to compete for the best lap time on Forza 7 to try to get a spot on the finals for the championship. And so on February 23rd, 16 finalists from the US and Canada competed in the grand finals to try to win cash prizes. In the room where the Forza 7 championship took place, there are also 4 cars sitting here. You can also find these 5 cars scattered throughout level 700. Next, we have this exhibit where you can find these old classic cars, which are part of the Cobble Beach Classics collection. The exhibit this year had a total of 15 cars from Cobble Beach Concours d'Elegance. Even the background piano music adds to the nostalgia in this room. But anyways, here are the 15 cars that are in the Cobble Beach Classics collection. And by the way, with every car is a background image of a historical event that took place in the same year as the vehicle. The 1904 Oldsmobile Model 6C Runabout, the 1912 Rolls-Royce 40/50 Silver Ghost, the 1913 American Underslung Scout Type 22A, the 1930 Cadillac V16 Series 452, the 1932 Ford V8 Roadster, the 1934 Bugatti Type 57 Atalante Coupe, the 1938 Delahaye 135 MS Coupe, the 1938 Mercedes-Benz 540K, the 1948 Packard Super 8 Convertible, the 1953 Oldsmobile Fiesta, the 1959 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray Concept, the 1963 Shelby Cobra Factory 289 Team Car, the 1964 Pontiac GTO, the 1967 Porsche 911S, and the 1969 Lamborghini Miura S. Next up, we have 8 vehicles from the Oblivion Retro Car Show. The exhibit will enable you to step back into the good old 80s and 90s, at a time when we liked reading comic books and seeing these types of cars drive past us on the streets. First up, we have the 1989 Volkswagen Jetta GLI Trophy 16V, the 1997 Acura Integra Type R, the 1990 Chevrolet Camaro IROC Z, the 1987 Jeep Grand Wagoneer, the 1981 DeLorean DMC-12. This car is a replica of the DeLorean time machine car that was made famous in the 1985 blockbuster Back to the Future. The 1986 Subaru Brat GL, the 1983 Pontiac Trans Am. This car, the Kit, along with its evil counterpart, the Car, both starred with David Hasselhoff in the hit TV show Knight Rider. And finally, we have the 1990 Saab 900 SPG. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. We are finally at level 800. The last floor I need to go over in the Metro Toronto Convention Center. Level 800 is probably the floor with the most amount of content, because you'll be able to see loads of cars from many different manufacturers in this huge space on level 800. But there's some things I need to show you first before we get to the commercial cars. Over here is the Ontario Regiment Museum, an exhibit where we celebrate Canada's military vehicles that served in war battle events such as D-Day. Here are the military vehicles that are displayed here. The Leopard C2 main battle tank, the Bombardier Iltis military jeep, the M113 APC, the AVGP Cougar, the Ferret Mark 1 armored scout car, the Anchus Semtree MPV, and the Angus Hudson APC. Next up, we have the Ontario Provincial Police, displaying a motorcycle, F-150, and Ford Explorer. Next up, we have an area of sponsor booths from these partners. Next, we have these two vehicles from Acura Pfaff. And finally, here is an SUV that I found at an unknown location. Now that we're done with the inner exhibits on level 800, let's get on to the commercial vehicles out on the main floor. On level 800, the vehicles you see come from the following manufacturers: Acura, Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin, Audi, BMW, Bentley, Bugatti, Buick, Cadillac, Chevrolet, Ford, GMC, Genesis, Infiniti, Jaguar, Karma, Lamborghini, Land Rover, Lexus, Lincoln, Mini, Pfaff, McLaren, Porsche, Rolls-Royce, and Toyota. First up, we have Ford with these vehicles: the Ford Fusion, the Mustang, the Mustang Shelby GT500, the Mustang Mach-E GT, the Escape, the Expedition, the Explorer, the F-150, the F-Series Super Duty, the Ford Ranger, and the GT Mark II. Next up, we have Toyota with these vehicles: the Prius, the Prius Prime, the Camry, the CHR, the Corolla, the Yaris, the GR Supra, the Highlander, the RAV4, the RAV4 Prime, the Tacoma, the Tundra, the GR Supra Track Concept, and the TS050 Hybrid. Next up, we have Chevrolet with the following vehicles: the Bolt EV, the Malibu, the Spark, the Camaro, the Corvette Stingray, the Trailblazer, the Blazer, the Tahoe, the Colorado, the Silverado, and the Silverado Heavy Duty. Next up, we have Buick with these new vehicles: the Regal, the Encore GX, the Envision, and the Enclave. Next up, we have the Future Technology Hub, who brought together a couple of vehicles to give us a glimpse of what the future of transportation may look like. The vehicles they showed us are the following: the Sparrow drone, the Condor helicopter, the Robin drone, and the Karma Rivero GT from the Automotive Parts Manufacturing Association. Next up, we have Lincoln, who displayed the following vehicles: the Continental, the MKZ, the Navigator, the Aviator, the Corsair, and the Nautilus. Next up, we have Alfa Romeo, who has the following cars: the Giulia Veloce, the Giulia Quadrifoglio, the Stelvio, the Stelvio Quadrifoglio, and the 4C Spider. Next, we have GMC, who has the Acadia, Terrain, the Yukon XL Denali, the Canyon, the Sierra AT4, and the Sierra Heavy Duty AT4. Next up, we have Cadillac, who showed us these sleek new cars: the CT5V, the CT6V, the 2021 Escalade, which made its global debut at the CIAS, and is the first car to be fitted with a curved OLED screen display. Just look at that 38-inch screen. But anyways, the next Cadillac car we have on the lineup is the CT4V, the XT5, and the XT6. Next up, we have Acura, who has the following cars: the TLX, the RLX, the ILX, the NSX, the RDX, the MDX, and the NSX GT3 Evo. Next up, we have Genesis. Their lineup includes the G70, the G80, the GV80, and the G90. Next up, we have Porsche, who has a lineup with these cars: the Taycan Turbo, the Panamera, the 718 Boxster Spider, the 718 Cayman GT4, the Macan, the Cayenne Coupe, the 992 Carrera 4S, and the Porsche 935. Next up, we have BMW, who has the following vehicles to offer. The i4, which will soon roll out to customers in 2021. The 3 Series. The 4 Series. The 5 Series. The Z4. The X1, the X3, the X5, the X7, the M8, the i8, the i3, the M5, and the Vision M Next concept. Next up, we have Mini, who has the Cooper Clubman S, the Cooper 3-door, the Cooper 5-door, the Cooper S convertible, and the Cooper S Countryman all 4. Next up, we have Jaguar, who has the following in their lineup. The I-Pace, the XE, the XF, the F-Type, the E-Pace, the F-Pace, and the XESV Project 8. Next up, we have Land Rover, who has the following. The Defender, the Discovery, the Range Rover Evoque, the Range Rover Sport, and the Range Rover Velar. Next up, we have Lexus, who has the following vehicles in store for us. The IS, the ES, the GS, the LS, the UX, the LC500, the NX, the RX, the GX, the RC, the GX Overland concept, and the LF30 Electrify concept. Next up, we have Audi, who displayed the following cars. The e-tron, the A4, the A5, the A6, the TT, the Q7, the Q5 TFSIe, the S6, the S7, the Q4 e-tron, the RS7, the RS6 Avant, the R8, the RSQ8, and the SQ5. Next up, we have Infiniti, who has the following vehicles in their 2020 lineup: the Q50, the Q60, the QX50, the QX80, the QX60, and the QS Inspiration Concept. Next up, we have these 4 cars from Pfaff McLaren, and this strange looking vehicle. Okay, so the Pfaff McLaren 4-car display includes the GT, the Senna, the 600 LT, and the 720S Spider Performance. And finally, we have Grand Touring automobiles with a static display of some of their grand luxurious vehicles. These vehicles are the following: the Lamborghini Urus, the Lamborghini Huracan Performante Spider, the Bentley Continental GT V8 convertible, the Aston Martin DBX, the Aston Martin Vantage, the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, and last but not least, I saved the best for last, the Bugatti La Voiture Noire. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the world's most exclusive, one-of-a-kind Bugatti car. The car made its Canadian debut at the 2020 CIAS and did a really good job of stealing the spotlight. La Voiture Noire is also a modern reinterpretation of Bugatti's classic Type 57 SC Atlantic. Fitted with an insanely powerful W16 engine, La Voiture Noire also has the honor of being one of the most expensive cars ever. That's right, the car costs a whopping, wait for it, 11 million euros, which is equivalent to about 12.5 million US dollars. Woo, that is one hefty price tag for one lucky person. And that was just about everything that you have to know about the 2020 Canadian International Auto Show. Once again, I apologize for taking this insane amount of time to edit this video. And so I encourage you guys to show some support for this video by clicking on that like button. And also, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to Transit Gaming as well. And click on the bell so you won't miss any of my amazing content. And finally, don't forget to check out part 1 of the Minecraft Survival Let's Play series on this channel. Have a great day, ladies and gentlemen, and stay tuned for the next video.